Good morning and welcome to Thursday. I have just made myself a smoothie for breakfast. It's a relatively new thing to us, smoothies for breakfast, but I just wanted to try it out because I've not been eating nearly as much fruit and vegetables as I should be. Busy summer, I just haven't been reaching for them. I've been reaching for comfort food. So I just thought for breakfast, let's just try and get some more nutrients into me. So yeah, it's nothing complicated. I just do bananas. We have frozen mango and frozen kind of strawberries and blueberries. We do a few different frozen fruits. And then I use oat milk as the base to kind of whiz it all up in. Not for any kind of non-dairy, health-conscious reasons, but purely for the fact that I don't really like the taste of normal milk. I use normal milk in tea and stuff like that. And we use it in cooking and baking and whatever. But I just don't like, I'm not the type of person that would drink a glass of milk. I don't like the taste of normal milk. If my tea's too milky, then I don't like that either. So in a smoothie, doing it with normal milk is just, again, a little bit too, I can taste too much milk. But I quite like the oat milk, actually. It works quite nicely. Today, now I've rambled about smoothies, today is all about getting the self-striping wound. All the dyeing for Glasgow is now finished. So I'm literally going to focus today on standing at the dining table, winding those stripes. If I really focus and if the kids don't demand too much attention, then I can probably get the final 6 done today, which would be really good. But I have also got tomorrow. I'm not leaving here until about 3:30 tomorrow afternoon. So I'll have tomorrow as well, hopefully, for any last minute bits. But I kind of want to reserve that for labelling and getting everything packed. I need to pack a suitcase for me as well, obviously. Yeah, all of that kind of stuff. But my lovely friend Laura is coming round kind of late this afternoon and into the evening to help me out a little bit. Laura she's a brand new dyer. She's the dyer behind Athis Yarns. She's based just up the road from me, which is brilliant. So she is going to pop round later and I need to have a little think about what we're going to do. But I need to do a big stock check, really. I need to go through all my boxes, work out what I'm going to take. Because I've got quite a lot left from Perth, but I want to do my stall slightly differently for Glasgow. At Perth, I picked 2 collections and I had 2 grid wool with those collections on, and I had kind of merino nylon at the top and then various other bases going down. But I'm wondering whether doing that way, it limits the number of colourways that I can take, if that makes sense, because obviously I've got 3 rows of just one colourway. So I'm thinking I might mix it up a little bit, and maybe on each row I'll have the merino nylon at the front, and then, so basically I'll have a row and one hook will be a colourway, and I'll just put the multiple bases on in layers, and then I'll keep the stock behind the stall, if that makes sense. So if somebody spots a colourway that they want and they want it in merino nylon, then I can just grab a couple of extra skeins if that's how many they want. I don't get many sweaters quantities. So I don't know, it tends to be single skeins of stuff, but we'll see how it goes. Anyway, so that's my plan, but that means that I need to grab out some other stock from my boxes to fill up the gaps and stuff like that. And do you know what? I just need to get my head around what I'm going to do on my stall, and I think that's one of the things that's stressing me out the most. So I'm thinking, I've got 1 grid wall up in the garage just because I thought to myself, I'll use that to get my head around how I want to display stuff. So I think what I might do when Laura's here later, we might go through all my stock boxes, have a little look, work out what I've got, and have a think about how I'm going to display it so I know what I'm taking with me. I think that would be super helpful. Yeah, I think that would be super helpful. Glasgow I'm pretty much there for. I'm not freaking out too much apart from just those final little working things out. Advents are getting on top of me. They all need to be out by the end of the month. I've got, as I said yesterday, 90 of my own. I also did 50 for the charity advent. They all need to go out. So that's 140 advent calendars that need to be packaged. They're all labelled. They need to be packaged. I've not dyed my minis for the charity advent yet. I will do that on Monday afternoon when I get back from Glasgow, and that'll be fine. They'll be dry and I can... Basically, with the charity advent, what I tend to do is leave my minis till last, and then when everybody else's minis have arrived, I can have a little look through, and if there's any obvious kind of colours missing, then I'll use an inspiration that works that colour in, so I can fill in any colour gaps or anything like that. But I think I know what I'm going to use for my inspiration, so that's fine. Anyway, what am I rambling about? Yeah, advents. I'm freaking out a little bit about packing the advents because I'm not going to get them done. I'm not going to get any of them done before Glasgow, which means I've got a week when I get back from Glasgow to package them all, but we'll get there. Tom has said that he's more than happy to help me pack advents in the evenings. That's what we often do. And then I've actually got the days as well. The kids are back at school on Monday, so I've got all day while they're at school. I've got to start dyeing the clubs, but I can be packing advents when I'm not at the dye pans. Right, I'm rambling again, aren't I? I'm going to go and drink this smoothie and get myself set up for dyeing self-striping. No, not dyeing self-striping. Definitely not. Winding self-striping. I haven't recorded anything all day and it's just gone 4 o'clock. But I have been... It's really, really cold in my garage. I have been working away and I got all 6 of those self-striping wound. So I've got all of the stripes that needed to be wound done. I've got the Halloween one, Chaotic Cauldron, and the Highlands colourway as well. And I've got some Storm's End, which is my rainbow one, and some Indiana Jones left over from Perth, which didn't go on the website because I knew that time was going to be tight. So I popped them aside for Glasgow. So there, I've got about 25 stripes in total, which is not a lot. It's not as many as I had for Perth. It's probably about half what I had for Perth, I think. But it's just going to have to do because unfortunately there were only a month basically, and 2 of those weeks were school holidays and there was a lot else on. But I will have lots of other yarn, obviously, that isn't stripes. I've got a few boxes of bits that need to be skeined up, but I'm planning to do that tomorrow. And I've also need to get a bit of labelling done. As I said earlier, my friend Laura is coming round a bit later this afternoon, I think in the next hour or so, to help with stuff. I haven't quite worked out what we're going to do. I think we're going to work out my stall. Did I say that earlier? I'm going to go through all of my stock boxes that are down underneath you and work out my stall and stuff like that. Hello. I haven't, Arthur. You want me to do this, don't you? Arthur has been doing, this is going to be dangerous to show you. Arthur has been doing hammer beads this morning and he's made hammer beads, perler beads, different names for the same thing. He's made a pokeball, which he wants me to iron. So I better go and get the iron out.
So we're gonna iron it now. We just need to put the bit on top. Get the iron. It's just hot. You just iron it. And that's all you do. Beautiful. Okay, so now we're taking the paper off. You can see nice and good. It's hot, isn't it? Is it hot?
Yep.
It's hot. So be careful at this point.
While I'm waiting for Laura to arrive, I thought I would talk Advent projects. I know it's only October, but having got my dust of snow out yesterday, it got me thinking about Advent projects and what I'm planning to do Advent knitting wise this year and things like that. And I know that this kind of time of year when all of the indie dyers are starting to ship Advents, she says, hopefully, they'll be out by the end of the month, even if I have to have some very, very late nights. We all start thinking about what we're going to cast on with our Advent calendars in December. So I dug out a few of the Advent projects that I've done over the last 3 or 4 years, 3 years or so, I'm not sure. There's a couple I don't have because one of the first Advent projects I made was the Land of Sweets cowl, which I knit with an advent calendar from Down Sheepy Lane, which was a 10-gram advent calendar, and I gifted the cowl to my mum. So I don't have that one anymore. But one of the products, so I don't know what I'm talking about, do I? I never know what I'm talking about when I sit down to talk to you, or when it all just comes out in a big rambling bumble. Dust of Snow. I shared this one yesterday. This is the Dust of Snow wrap. I won't get it all undone again properly because it's big and it's a lot of things. This is a fantastic advent project. It uses 20-gram minis, but you would have enough left from the 20-gram mini to do a little bit extra, so maybe to put it into a blanket or something like that. I think it used about somewhere between 14 and 16 grams of yarn for each section. I've got all of the leftovers for this set aside somewhere. I've actually made a couple, I think, but certainly I made a small garland and I made a big garland of stars, which actually I made them last year at some point. I don't know whether I did it during Advent or in the lead up to Advent. So there might be, at the beginning of my Vlogmas from last year, there might be some snippets of it. You'll certainly see it going on the Christmas tree. But I made a garland using the leftovers, just crocheted little stars and joined them together. I think I did 2 of each colour, so I had 48 little stars. I'm not sure now, I'm second guessing myself. I made a garland. I can't get it out because it's in the Christmas box, and the Christmas box is in the attic. But if you look back at my Vlogmas for 2020, then hopefully you'll see me putting it on the Christmas tree and you might get more of an idea. Anyway, so 20-gram advent calendar from Spectrum Fibres in 2019 made this gorgeous Dust of Snow wrap, which I absolutely adore. I said I wasn't going to get it out, and now I am getting it out. I'm just trying to make sure it's not backwards. Absolutely gorgeous. It was a really nice project to knit. It's one of the first advent projects of this size that I actually kept up with, and I finished it on Christmas Day. So that was really impressive for me. I was really pleased with that one. And then the other things that I've made advent wise are blankets. So also in 2019, I think, I made this little lap blanket using a 10-gram advent calendar from Erin, whose Henny Penny makes. Am I showing you the right side? No, I think I'm showing you the wrong side. Let's show you the right side, shall we? So this was really simple. I just crocheted up really simple granny squares. I used as much as I could from each one. So I made the square as big as I could get out of the 10-gram mini without the risk of running out. So I think they're 8 rounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, each square is 8 rounds, and I just did 1 of each of the colours and then joined them together into a little lap blanket, which was lovely. I can't remember if I kept up with it. I probably didn't, but I certainly got it finished shortly after Advent. And then I really enjoyed doing that one so much that last year, 2020 Advent, oh, sorry, camera went all wonky then. I did the same, again, with an advent calendar from Erin. Erin and I do a swap each year, so this will be the 3rd year that we're doing it, but basically I have one of her advent calendars and she has one of mine, because it's nice. It's just fun and it's nice, and we swap, and it means that we get extra advent calendars. So I did this, was her 2020 advent calendar, and in 2020 I had a 20-gram advent off of her, and then I made this blanket, which is a bit bigger. And basically what I did in 2020 was I took each 20-gram mini and I made 4 little smaller granny squares. So these ones are, let's check, shall we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds each, and I did 4 of them, and then I just each row is 2 colours, so you've got colours 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, etc., all the way down the blanket. So I just kind of alternated the colours and made a really nice sized blanket out of the 20-gram advent calendar. And for both of these blankets, actually, both of these ones, I've just used a Drops, what's it called? Drops Fable, in the light grey kind of colour, just to border them. So it was an inexpensive yarn to border them with. But it's worked really well. It holds up really well as well. These have been used a lot by the kids. But yeah, again, I didn't keep up with this one at all during Advent. But it was nice and simple to just work on the colours every so often and to just, it was mindless. And I really like the project I got out of it. I really like the Advent project. So I definitely want to do a blanket with one of my Advent calendars again this year. 2020 was a year where I failed to finish anything of my Advent stuff, and then I also failed to finish any of the other stuff well, apart from that blanket. I also failed to finish my main Advent project this year. So I cast on a Cupid's Arrow wrap, which is a pattern by Ellie of Craft House Magic, using the 2020 Spectrum Fibres Advent calendar. And this is as far as I got. I did not get very far at all. I think I've put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colours. I think I've just started the 6th colour in this. And yeah, so I've really not got very far at all. The colours are all downstairs in a box. They're all in the order that I wanted to use them in. But you know, this year has been a busy year for us. And it's been a hard year for... not necessarily for negative reasons. I mean, the beginning of the year was hard because obviously we had the second lockdown and the kids were off school from January till March. And then we had a couple of months where it was a bit quieter, but then we moved house. And, you know, that's a stressful thing in your life, isn't it? I mean, it was a fantastic thing. I'm so glad we've moved and I love the fact that we've moved. But yeah, it definitely wasn't an unstressful experience. And then since we moved, it's been chaotic. So things like this have just suffered. But I was talking to Tom and I was talking about Advent this year because I've purchased 2 Advent calendars this year and I'm doing a swap with Erin and I'm doing the Lay Family Yarn swap. So I will have 4 Advent calendars. I've purchased an Advent calendar from Hannah at the Corner of Craft, her Dungeons and Dragons themed Advent calendar. I've also purchased an Advent calendar from Laura, a Bumbling Yarns, because she was doing a nerdy themed Advent calendar. I'm swapping with Erin, and then I've joined in with the Lay Family Yarn swap, where you just swap scraps. So it's 5-gram minis. And in the past, I've generally made like little mitts or something like that from them. I might do some scrappy socks this year, just something simple. But I'm just very aware that time is difficult and things have been stressful this year, and I don't want to give myself added stress and saying I'm going to knit this project with my Advent calendar. So I think my plan for this year is during Advent I'm going to try and finish this Advent calendar. The yarn is already caked up, it's all ready to go. I will open my minis in my Advent calendars as they come in. I will probably do a blanket again with Erin's because I like that I've got blankets made out of Erin's Advent calendars. And that's relatively simple because crochet is so much quicker. And then I will save the other 2 to find projects for them later in the year, and I will endeavour to finish this one, my 2020 Advent shawl, I will work on in 2021. Because why not? And it's not a new cast on. Anyway, I've rambled and rambled about Advent calendars now. There's so many projects. I dug this one out as well because this is a little cowl that I made for... Well, I didn't actually make it for Jasper. Sorry, I'm just checking. I thought I heard a car. I didn't. I didn't actually make it for Jasper. Basically, these are some of the colours from my 2020 Advent calendar, so from the Giddy Yarns 2020 Advent calendar. But I was trying to work out the order that I was going to put them in the box. So I decided I'd just knit a little cowl, relatively simple, to try the colours out. And by the point that I'd got this far, I'd realised that the colours were in the wrong order and I needed to rethink it all. So I didn't do a full 24 in this. I just cast it off. But Jasper loves it. Jasper uses it. It's his scarf. And it works quite nicely. But I love that kind of thing for an Advent as well. It's just fun, isn't it? I've not done a sample for this year's Advent calendar, so I will also have one of my Advent calendars, which I may make something out of at some point. We'll see how time goes. Anyway, I've been talking for like 12 minutes now. Good job I haven't got much other footage to put in today. I am going to go and carry on sorting out the garage in the hope that I can get my head around what I need to do while Laura's here. And yeah, go and check in on the kids.